Alright, now let us understand what is parallel axis theorem. Okay, now look here careful. Now suppose this is a three-dimensional body. Fine. Okay, now suppose there is an axis passing through this point C. Fine. Now center of mass of that body will lie on this axis. So basically this is an axis. Right now this axis is perpendicular to the board, and this axis is passing through the center of mass of the body, and C is any point on that axis. Fine. Okay. Now the body will have certain moment of inertia about this axis. Let us say the moment of inertia about this axis is IC. Fine. Okay. Now suppose I have another axis passing through this point O. Again the axis is perpendicular to the board. So that means these two axes are parallel to each other. Fine. Now if the axis rotates about this axis passing through point O like this, then it will have another moment of inertia, and let us say that moment of inertia is IO. Okay? So basically I am going to consider two axes. One axis passing through the center of mass of the body, and another axis passing through point O, and both the axes are parallel to each other. IC is the moment of inertia about the axis passing through the center of mass. IO is the moment of inertia of the axis passing through point O. Fine. Okay. And what is H? H is the perpendicular distance between the two axes. Okay. Now there is a relation between IO and IC. What is that relation? IO is equal to IC plus MH square, where M is the mass of the entire body, H is the perpendicular distance between the two parallel axes, one passing through the center of mass and another passing through any other random point O. Okay? Okay. So this is nothing but parallel axis theorem. Okay. Now let us prove this theorem. Okay. Now we know to find out moment of inertia about any axis, what we need to do? We have to take integration of r square dm. Right? Or what we do? We take dm particles of the body and take their perpendicular distances from the axis of rotation. So we will get dm r square, dm r square, dm r square for every particle. We add all dm r square terms. That is nothing but integration of r square dm. Then we will get moment of inertia about that axis. Right? Okay. So same process will follow. Okay. Now for that we have to take one particle anywhere. So let us say D is a point. The particle at point D has mass dm. Okay, dm indicates small mass or mass of a particle. Okay. Now let us join OD and let us call it R. Fine. Join CD, let us call it as R dash. Then extend this line OC in the further direction. Drop a perpendicular from D to this line. Let us say this is the point DN, this is the point N, or let us say DN is perpendicular to now OC, which is produced in the further direction. Fine. Now let us say Cn is X. The distance Cn is X. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Now we want a relation between IO and IC, right? So basically we want a relation between R and R dash. Fine. Once again, to find out the moment of inertia about point O, what we have to do? This was one of the particle of mass dm. Since we are going to consider it to be a homogeneous body, constant density everywhere, each and every particle will have the mass dm. Okay, and r is the perpendicular distance, right, from this axis. R is the perpendicular distance from this axis of this particle. So to find out moment of inertia about axis passing through O, that is this axis, what we need to do? We have to take dm r square, another dm that corresponding r square, another dm that corresponding r square. We have to add all these things. So we'll get integration of r square dm. That will give us moment of inertia about axis passing through O. In the same way, for the moment of inertia about axis passing through the center of mass, I require perpendicular distance. So as you can see, r dash is the perpendicular distance of this particle of mass dm from C. So moment of inertia about C, about an axis passing through C, will be integration of r dash square dm. Okay? We are calling this distance as r dash. Clear? Okay. Now look at this figure in this diagram, ODN. In this diagram, it is a right angle triangle. The triangle ODN is right angle triangle. So by using Pythagoras theorem, I can see that r square is nothing but dn square plus on square, and on can be written as h plus x. So I have written the same thing over here. R square is equal to dn square plus h plus x the whole square. Let us open this bracket. So it will be what? H square plus twice hx plus x square. Now if you look in this diagram, x square plus dn square will be r dash square. Again applying Pythagoras theorem in this triangle DCN. So instead of dn square and plus x square, I can write r dash square. So r square is equal to r dash square plus x square plus twice hx. Fine? Okay. So this is the diagram if you look from this view, right? In that case, this axis will be like this. But if you look this diagram from the bottom view, the axis will look like this. Right? So this is the axis passing through the point C. This is the axis passing through the point O. And as we have said, center of mass lies on the axis passing through the point C. So this is the center of mass. Or this is the axis passing through the center of mass, and C is anywhere on that axis. So this is that axis, and this is this axis over here. So suppose center of mass is over here. Fine. And in this diagram is nothing but this diagram, because this is a three-dimensional diagram now. As you can see, this was our original diagram, and when I look from this perspective, the diagram becomes like this. So so this was the axis, right, passing through O and corresponding passing through C. And when I look from this view, the axis is seen like this. Okay, so this is the axis passing through O, this is the axis passing through center of mass. H is the distance between them. And now point D is where? Point D is in the horizontal plane. So I hope you can see this. Okay, so point D is where now? Point D is in the horizontal plane now. So this is the three-dimensional diagram. So actually point D is inside the board, behind the board. Okay, and the same diagram I have shown. So the same equation will hold. Okay, now I have shown these different cases because I want to show you that this equation will be true for any of the case. Because over here I had taken a particle towards right hand side, right? Somewhere over here. And we have to take each and every particle and make the similar diagrams and come up with the equation such that we cover the entire body. So I want to show you that we will get this equation always, even if the particle is anywhere. For example, if the particle is over here, exactly behind C. Okay, so there won't be any x distance. X is what distance? X is the distance from the point C to the point N. Okay, or x is the distance from the axis passing through the center of mass in this direction. Okay, so if the D is exactly behind C, then the equation will be what? R square is equal to R dash square plus x square. Now since x is 0, there is no x distance. So here this term will not come because x is 0 over here, right? Okay. If the particle is over here on this side, so how will the equation be now? R square is equal to dn square plus h minus x square, because r square is equal to dn square plus on square, right? So we have to make use of the same equation, but over here simply it will be h minus x. So we'll get this result: r square is equal to r dash square plus x square. R square is equal to r dash square plus x square minus twice hx. Now we'll get minus sign, minus twice hx. Fine. Okay. Now if the d is somewhere over here, or if I take the particle over here, so what equation I will get? R square is equal to dn square plus on square. Now here dn will be x, because we have said that x is the distance from C to n. So r square will be dn square plus x minus h square, because it will be dn square plus no square, x minus h the whole square. So again you will get this relation by again make use of Pythagoras theorem again to the different triangle. R square is equal to r dash square plus x square minus twice hx. Fine. In the same way, if suppose d is exactly over here, so this is O, this is C, and this is D, right? So OD, entire OD is nothing but R, no? Entire OD is nothing but R. Now OD is nothing but equal to H plus CD. H plus CD, and CD is nothing but R dash. So H plus R dash the whole square. Sorry, H plus R dash. So if I square on both sides, I'll get this. So if I open the bracket, R square will be H square plus twice H R dash plus R dash square. Right? Okay. Now over here, D and N overlap, or D is behind the board, right? N is over here on the board. So CD will be nothing but equal to X. CD will be nothing but equal to X, or R dash will be nothing but equal to X. So instead of R dash I can write X. So I have got the same relation. R square is equal to R dash square plus H square plus twice Hx. And if the particle was over here, I will get R square is equal to R dash square plus H square minus twice Hx. Anyway, what I want to show you that this equation will always hold wherever the particle may be. Only thing is that at some times I will get over here minus twice Hx, at some times I will get over here plus 0. Or you can see that for the particles towards the right hand side of this axis, H is taken as positive. For the particles towards left hand side of the axis, X is taken as negative. Okay, so this, if X is taken, if X is on the right hand side, it will be positive. This will be the relation. If X is on the left hand side, or the distance is on the left hand side, the X distance, then this will automatically become minus. Fine. Okay. So that means this equation will always hold. Fine. So we'll say that this equation works for each and every particle. Okay. Now what I am doing over here, multiplying by dm throughout. So for each and every equation, I can do this: r square dm is equal to r dash square dm plus h square dm plus twice hx dm. Okay. So I have got this equation for each and every particle. Now I will add all these equations. Adding all those equations, that means nothing but integrating the things. So or simply you can say that integrating the above equation. So you get this result. Now integration of this will become integration of r square dm. This will become integration of r dash square dm. Now since h is constant, I can take it out of the integration. So plus h square integration of dm plus again twice h is constant, taken out of the integration, twice h integration of x dm. Clear? Okay. Now, as we have already seen, integration of r square dm will be nothing but moment of inertia about axis passing through O. That is IO, because r is the perpendicular distance of the particle. Okay, so integration of r square dm is IO. Similarly, integration of r dash square dm will be IC. Integration of dm is what? We have to add all those dm terms such that we cover the entire body. So adding all the dm terms will give us the total mass of the body. So integration of dm is nothing but capital M. So this becomes plus mh square. Getting this? Now plus, we have to do this now. We have to solve this. Okay, so basically we need to know what is integration of x dm. Again, x is what? X is the distance from the axis through the center of mass in this direction. Or these distances are positive, these distances are negative. Okay? Okay. Now for that you need to know about center of mass, how to calculate center of mass. Let us go back to the 11th standard formula. Okay. So over here, so suppose this is a body and this is some coordinate system, or this is the origin 0 0 0. Okay, and we know that the let us say center of mass coordinates are xc, yc and zc, and we know the formula. Xc will be what? Integration of x dm upon m. Yc will be what? Integration of y dm upon m. Zc will be what? Integration of z dm upon m. Okay, so this will give us the coordinates of the center of mass with this coordinate system. Okay, now what will happen if I shift my coordinate system such that the z-axis passes through the center of mass? Okay, or you bring this body such that now the center of mass lies on z-axis. So if the center of mass lies on the z-axis, its x coordinate will be 0. If the center of mass itself lies on the x-axis, its x coordinate will be 0. So I will have what? Xc is 0. So integration of x dm upon m is nothing but equal to 0. So m will go over here, become 0. So again integration of x dm is equal to 0. Getting this? Okay. Now isn't this the same case as over here? So this was our z-axis. This is nothing but our z-axis. And x is what? X is the distances measured from this axis, right? Over here positive and over here negative. In the same way we have done over here. X is the distance measured from this axis. X over here positive, x over here negative. So as over here integration of x dm is equal to 0, even over here integration of x dm should be equal to 0. Right? So integration of x dm will be nothing but equal to 0. Why? Because x is the distance measured from the line passing through the center of mass. Okay? X is the distance along the x-axis measured from the line passing through the center of mass. Okay, and hence x dm will be equal to 0 as we have seen over here. So this will be equal to 0. So have we proved the theorem? So IO is equal to IC plus mh square. That is nothing but IO is equal to IC plus mh square, as I had already written. So this is what? This is parallel axis theorem. Okay. Okay. Now let us see its application. Okay. Now one more thing. No need to write down these things because this is not how you are supposed to write in the exam. I will make you write how you are supposed to write in the exam. Okay, but anyway, if we want to write down this explanation, you can write somewhere else for you to recall. Okay, okay. Now let us see the application of this theorem, because this application saves us a lot of time. Now look here. Now let me erase this thing. Okay. Now we have seen last time. I had drawn table and made you draw it as well. That suppose this is a thin rod and moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center perpendicular to the length. This was what? Moment of inertia about this. It was what? ml square by 12. Right? ml square by 12. About an axis passing through its center perpendicular to its length. Fine. Okay. Now, since this is a uniform rod, the center of mass of the rod will be from on its geometrical center. So obviously this is an axis passing through its center of mass. So let us say the moment of inertia about this axis is IC, and IC is nothing but ml square by 12. Okay. Now suppose the question is, what is the moment of inertia of a rod about an axis perpendicular to its length and passing through midpoint between its center and its edge. So this is the midpoint between its center and its edge, and the axis passes through this point and perpendicular to the length. That means the axis will be like this. Let us say this is point O. So let us say the moment of inertia about this axis is IO. Okay. Now we already know IC. Now IO can be found out by this formula. Actually IO can be found out also by integration, but this saves the theorem saves our time because we already know IC. So IO will be what? IC plus mh square, where m is the mass of the rod. Now what is h? H is the perpendicular distance between the two axes. That means this is the distance between the two axes. Distance, since this is the midpoint between the center and the edge, so this itself is L by 2. So this will be what? L by 4. So h will be L by 4. So instead of h, I can write L by 4 the whole square, right? So IO will be, IC is what? ML square by 12 plus M L by 4 square. Okay, so this will be nothing but ml square by 16. Okay, and solving this you will get the moment of inertia about the axis passing through this point. So this is how parallel axis theorem is used. So to make use of this theorem, we need to know the moment of inertia about axis passing through its center of mass. Fine? Okay. So I hope you have understood about this theorem. Now I will make you write. Just put the heading parallel axis theorem. Write on parallel axis theorem. Okay, then draw this diagram. Okay, and then write down, consider a body as shown. Consider an axis passing through the center of mass of the body. Okay. C is the point on that axis. Full stop. This axis is perpendicular to the page. This axis is perpendicular to the page. Okay. Let IC be the moment of inertia about that axis. Okay. Then write down, consider another axis parallel to the first axis passing through point O. Let IO be the moment of inertia of that axis. Write down, afterwards write down H. H is the perpendicular distance between the two axes. Okay, yeah. Now write down, consider a particle at point D of mass dm. join OD, join CD, extend the line OC, drop a perpendicular from D to that line, DN is perpendicular to ON. Okay, now write down, let CN be equal to X. Fine. Now below that write down IO is equal to what should I write? IO is equal to what? Integration of R square dm, right? And that is nothing but integration of OD square dm. What will be IC? Integration of R dash square dm. So that is nothing but integration of CD square dm. Okay. Now from the diagram or from figure, what I have? R square is equal to what? dn square plus h plus x the whole square. So R square is equal to dn square plus, I will open this bracket, h square plus 2 times hx plus x square. Now we know that dn square plus x square is nothing but r dash square. So therefore r square is equal to r dash square plus h square plus 2 times hx. Right? And after this write down multiplying throughout by dm, and integrating, we get integration of r square dm is equal to integration of r dash square dm plus integration of h square dm plus, okay, over here h square will come out, right? Plus twice h integration of x dm. Now integration of r square dm is nothing but IO. Therefore IO is equal to IC plus integration of dm is nothing but capital M. So mh square plus, we know that integration of x dm is 0. Now in the bracket you can write down, since integration of dm is nothing but capital M, mass of the entire body, integration of x dm is equal to 0. Why? Because C lies on the axis passing through the center of mass, right? Over here you can write down, because since C lies this is nothing but our parallel axis theorem. IO is equal to IC plus MH square. Okay? Alright. In the diagram, just you show this axis like this. Actually the axes are how? Actually the axes are perpendicular to the board or to your page. but still you show the axis like this. And axis through C like this. So if it rotates about this axis, the moment of inertia is IO. If it rotates about this axis, the moment of inertia is IC. Fine? Alright. So I hope you have understood about parallel axis theorem. Okay? Alright. Now we'll talk about perpendicular axis theorem. Okay? Okay. Now as parallel axis theorem was applicable to any three-dimensional body, but perpendicular axis theorem will be applicable only to two-dimensional bodies called as plane laminars, okay, such as leaf or your chapati or a disc or a ring. So these bodies can be placed on XY plane, right? So these are two-dimensional bodies, or we'll say it is plane laminar bodies. Okay. So perpendicular axis theorem is applicable to only plane laminar bodies, such as this body. So if this thickness is very small, if this can be said to be a plane laminar body, okay, or two-dimensional body. So perpendicular axis theorem will be applicable to only such kind of bodies. Okay. Now over here, what we have taken three different axes about which the body can rotate. One is the x-axis and y-axis, which lie on the lamina. So this is the lamina. So this is the y-axis. Okay, like this. So the body can rotate about this axis. So it will have certain moment of inertia about that axis. Let us call it as IY. It can rotate about this axis, x-axis, which again that axis lies on the lamina. So let us call the moment of inertia about that axis as Ix. And I will have one more axis that is perpendicular to this plane lamina. Okay? Passing through what point? Passing through the point of intersection of this x and y axis. That is this point O. And if the body rotates about this axis, the moment of inertia will be Iz. So now there is a relation between this Iz, Ix and Iy, and that relation is Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. This is nothing but perpendicular axis theorem. Okay, now let us prove it. Now this is comparatively easy than the parallel axis theorem. Now again, we have to take a certain point P. Let the mass of the particle at P be dm, and we require perpendicular distances from the three axes, right? And that perpendicular distance square into dm integration will give us moment of inertia about that particular axis. Okay, now we have talked about this a lot of times. Okay, now as you can see over here, I have taken point P whose mass is dm, and if I join OP will be itself perpendicular distance, okay, from the z-axis. Now from P I have dropped a perpendicular on y-axis and on x-axis. Okay, to make it easier, I have also shown the top view, because this is a three-dimensional figure. The body is like this, right? So from top view you can see easily. This is the thing that we get. This is the y-axis, this is x-axis. They are mutually perpendicular to each other. This is the point O, their intersection point, and Z is the axis perpendicular to the plane. That means Z will be perpendicular to both x and y. All the three axes are concurrent to each other at point O. They all meet at point O. So as you can see, R is the perpendicular distance from Z axis. So integration of R square dm will give us Iz. Drop a perpendicular from P on y axis. Okay? So let M be the point. Pm is perpendicular to y axis. Pn is perpendicular to x axis. So obviously this distance will be nothing but the y coordinate or y distance. This distance will be x, right? Okay. So Iz will be what? Integration of R square dm, because R is the perpendicular distance from the z axis. Iy is what? Integration of x square dm, because x is the perpendicular distance from the y-axis. As you can see, x is what? The perpendicular distance from the y-axis. So Iy is equal to integration of x square dm. Similarly, Ix is equal to integration of y square dm. Y is the perpendicular from the x-axis, perpendicular distance from the x-axis. So Ix is equal to integration of y square dm. Now from the figure, you can easily see using Pythagoras theorem, r square is equal to x square plus y square. R square is equal to x square plus y square. Multiplying throughout by dm and integrating, we will get integration of r square dm is equal to integration of x square dm plus integration of y square dm. Integration of r square dm is nothing but iz. Integration of y square x square dm is nothing but iy. Integration of y square dm is nothing but ix. So iz is equal to iy plus ix. This proves the perpendicular axis theorem. Okay? So it was easy. Fine. So please put the heading perpendicular axis theorem. Draw this diagram and then write down. Consider a plane laminar body. Consider two axes x and y mutually perpendicular to each other, lying on the lamina. Meeting at point O. Okay, or intersecting at point O. Consider another axis, z axis, which is perpendicular to the lamina passing through point O. Let Iz, Ix and Iy be the moment of inertia of the plane lamina about z, x and y axis respectively. Take a point P on the body. The particle at point P has mass dm. Join OP. Drop a perpendicular from P on y and x axis. PM is perpendicular to OY. PN is perpendicular to OX. Now then mention these things. Okay, so this is about perpendicular axis theorem. Fine. Okay. Now write down a note. In that mention parallel axis theorem is applicable to any three-dimensional body, whereas perpendicular axis theorem is applicable to only two-dimensional, in bracket write down, plane laminar, bracket close, bodies. Fine. All right. Now let us see its application. Now look here. Suppose I have a ring. Now a ring is a two-dimensional body, right? Okay. Yeah. Now we know that the moment of inertia of this ring about this axis, that is perpendicular to its plane passing through its center. Now let us say it is the z axis. Now what is Iz? We know it is mr square. Now if it is asked to find out moment of inertia about an axis passing through its diameter, that means this axis. So for that the particle, the ring will rotate like this. So the axis is passing through the diameter. Right now for z axis the ring should rotate like this, for the axis passing through the center perpendicular to its plane. But about diameter, let us say the moment of inertia is id. So this they have asked, what is the moment of inertia about an axis passing through the diameter? Okay. Now we know that Iz is equal to Ix plus Iy. Now this can be said to be Iy. Now if I take, now we want one more axis along the plane perpendicular to both of them. So this is another axis. Since this is also passing through the diameter, even this will be ID. So from this result we can easily write down Iz is equal to what? ID plus ID, that will be 2 times ID, right? So ID will be what? It will be Iz upon 2, but Iz is nothing but mr square. So ID will be what? mr square by 2. Okay? In this manner you will get different numericals. So you can make use of this perpendicular axis theorem. Again, perpendicular axis theorem will be applicable only to plane laminar bodies such as ring or disc. ठीक है, फाइन, चलो, थैंक यू.